Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Heartland Franchise Guide, your insider's guide to all things franchising in the local area. I'm Blake Martin, local small business franchise owner, and your Heartland Franchise Guide. This is the place for advocacy, resources, and education on all things franchising in the local area. Speaking of local area franchises and locally owned and operated, our guest today, who's going to talk with us about growing and scaling within a franchise system through purchase of other franchisees' locations. And the guest is Bernie Inbody, franchise owner of Express Employment Professionals. Thanks for being with us.
Hey, thanks for having me, Blake. Really appreciate the opportunity to talk to you today.
Absolutely. And I'm glad we started off with me immediately interrupting you on the very first question.
It might happen again. No promises here.
It's possible.
Right.
Yeah, I'm good at that. Just ask my prior
and
guests.
Vice versa. I think we both could be capable of that.
It'll work. So, Bernie, what does Express Employment Professionals do? Let's start with the advertisement.
Yeah. So, Express Employment Professionals, we're in the people business. We help local companies find good people, and we're here for the community. People that are in between jobs, new to town, falling on hard times, laid off. We help those people find good jobs. So, again, in the people business, two sets of customers, job seekers, and companies locally.
And that second set of customers, the companies locally, you are the solution to the number one challenge that we have right now, which is the labor crunch, right?
There's no question that it's a challenge. You know, it's always been difficult to recruit and find good people. Obviously, over the last 2 years, there have been some added challenges thrown in there. And with low unemployment in Nebraska, there's definitely a need for us and a service we provide that's valuable to many companies.
Yeah. What is the unemployment rate right now in Nebraska?
2.2%, I believe.
So basically anybody that wants a job has a job.
It's probably negative. Yeah. So yes, absolutely.
Okay. So going back and kind of setting the table here, when you were growing up and when you were in college, you knew what you were going to do was be a franchise owner of Express Employment Professionals, right?
Absolutely not. I'm guessing you're asking me that or assuming that because that's never the case, right?
Very infrequently. Yes.
Yeah. No, I went to school in Lincoln and was in the business school and really had never had an idea on what I wanted to do. Was a very competitive person, so obviously loved sports, but business was a good fit. My career was primarily in sales. So spent about 12 years in pharmaceutical, medical sales. Love that because it's a competitive industry, not only with other pharma companies, but competitive with yourself to get out there and really help physicians and help nurses and help clinics service the population and heal people. Did that for 12 years and really enjoyed it. But then decided to make a shift here about 9 years ago.
What went into that decision?
You know, when I first got married, my wife and I would walk our dog frequently and have a conversation about owning a business. And it often included never knowing what the heck we would do just because we were never creative enough to come up with a unique idea. But both being in sales, a business to business opportunity really was something that made sense. A friend of mine who I'd worked with in pharmaceutical sales opened up his Express franchise a few years earlier, and I got to see him succeed. I got to really lean on him for support, and he showed me the way and opened my eyes to what being a franchisee could be and be a successful one here in Nebraska.
That's interesting. So you got to actually see it happen with a friend. And
Absolutely.
Then went through the research process subsequently.
Most people that research a franchise or looking for a franchise, you would know this, spend quite a bit of time. I might have spent the least amount of time of anyone simply because the timing was right and I knew this individual really well. And it just the gut feel was, this is it. Let's go. And that's what we did.
Did you know, or were you guessing that you had the right transferable skills? I mean, was that part of your confidence? Like, hey, if other people can do it, I have that same skill set?
I don't know if that's was an internal belief. It was more of an outward or inward. I don't know which way we're looking at it here. It's other people telling me that you can do this and you'll be good at it. And when you hear that enough from enough people, you really start to believe it. And I'm no different than many other people that have been told those same things in reference to you can be successful. And so I heard that enough and had faith in people closest to me.
Yeah.
That was a key piece as well. If you've got a good support system and you trust that they're being honest with you, then usually good things will happen. And that I'm fortunate that did happen for us.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
And that was how long ago when you
So almost 9 years. 9 years ago right now is when we started the process, so to say.
No kidding.
Yes. So October of 13. Wait, is that 9 years ago? Yeah, 9 years ago. October of 13. Football season, headed down to Oklahoma where Express headquarters is for Discovery Days. Again, a process that you're familiar with many other franchises. And got this thing kicked off and signed on the dotted line pretty much right then and there.
Impressive. Very impressive. I mean, 9 years, that says a lot. So, and you're in an industry that tends to sustain regardless. So obviously it's been a pretty consistent ride for you.
That's interesting because you would think that there'd be so many factors that would take away from the opportunities. But what we have found over 9 years is that while COVID and other natural disasters or market fluctuations, they will impact some businesses. If you have a wide base and if you are seeking out different opportunities within your community, you can avoid some of those and lean on the others to make up for those voids. And that's been a key piece to how we've been successful, is to create that wide base of clients in a wide variety of industries so that, when things happen, it's not the sky's falling. It's just, okay, let's make a small tweak here or there.
So if I'm hearing you right, within your franchise organization, you have a lot of say on the local level about what categories you can go after as far as customers and the types of people that you want to staff and the types of businesses that you want to staff? Yeah,
a huge reason why I'm such a big advocate of franchising and specifically Express is that the franchisor will remove some of the obstacles or handle things that let you focus on your business and selling. In ours, it's selling, building relationships. And yes, the answer to your question is we have full reign of almost any industry to go after, with a few exceptions. We don't do anything in the medical world. We're not doing C-suite placement at the moment.
Placement stuff.
At the moment, for sure. But other than that, it's a wide open landscape. And we're able to make those decisions whether or not we're going to pursue certain things or we're going to market ourselves as a leader in that area.
Yeah.
And we've learned sometimes the hard way that every avenue is not the right avenue, and you do need to switch gears and follow a different road. But that's part of the fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So speaking of part of the fun, things are moving along. I don't know how many years ago this was, but to the topic of the day, expansion by bringing on additional territories, buying out other franchise owners.
Yeah.
Things are moving along. Things are going well. And you decided, well, I don't have enough headaches. I need some more. So maybe I'll buy up some more territory.
That's it actually did happen pretty quick.
I see a theme here.
The two, right. Make a decision and go. That's just like, make a decision and go. There's no use researching to death. death by research, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
The two reasons we really pursued expansion, number one, we feel like we're part of Omaha and we wanted to service Omaha.
Mm-hmm.
But when there's 3 separate individual franchises within the same community,
Yeah.
there are some doors that we can't open. And so the first was we wanted to service Omaha. We felt like we are Omaha. We're Express Omaha. We want to have full reign in Omaha.
Yeah.
Second thing is, when you interview people in a variety of industries or positions, you're going to find that people are asking about growth opportunities. Blake, if you hire me, what's the growth potential here?
Right.
And adding additional franchises allowed us to career path the people that we bring into our team. It's not that person's in that role, wait till they're done or when they retire or they leave. Instead, it's, hey, we've created more opportunities because we've got multiple offices, multiple positions, different niches of services that we can provide.
Mm-hmm.
And that's been a big benefit and one reason why our turnover is down over the last 2 years.
Turnover within your own organization.
Our internal turnover, yeah, because people are seeing the opportunity to do different things, more things, take on more responsibility, and that is super exciting for me and my team.
Yeah. Congratulations on that.
Thank you. Yeah.
So, walk me through the decision-making process. Did you approach other franchisees, or did they approach you? And was the franchisor involved in the discussions?
This was really more of a franchisee conversation.
Okay.
When you're in the same market, it's critical that
As
you
in
work
geographic
together.
market.
When you're in the same geographic market, absolutely. Okay. It's important that you work together because it's going to create more opportunities when you do. And while we did compete somewhat for talent in Omaha, we were still under the same brand. And so over the years, just got to know the previous owner as well and understand where they were coming from, where they're going. And at certain points along the process, they made the choices to go a different route and pursue other business ventures. And that provided the opportunity for me and my team. And so it really was as simple as that. It happened coincidentally about every 2 years. It's just every 2 years something would happen. We purchased a building in the first, in our first level of expansion where we knew we needed more space. And then one of the other territories became available 2 years later. And then in 2020, the final third piece here in Omaha became available. And so it's worked out. And again, as you're seeing and hearing, not a lot of research went in. We just knew where we were going, what we wanted to do. And this was something that was discussed between my wife and I day one, that if and when there were additional franchise opportunities within Express, given what we've seen and what we've known, man, let's take advantage of it and really leverage the time that we have to be Express franchisees.
So part of this was you paying attention to what was going on within the franchise system, and you were experiencing success, but watching and seeing that success wasn't just unique to you.
100%. The annual meetings that we would attend, the regional meetings, it's so critical to network and just understand, ask, pay attention, see what others are doing, not just from a standpoint of how can my franchise right now be successful, but where are we going?
Yeah.
What path are we heading down? I will never forget the initial conversation we had at Discovery Days was talking about exit strategy. Mm-hmm. Here I was, a 42-year-old guy starting his own business. The last thing I was thinking about was, how do I exit Express? But it's important to, again, just pay attention and think about all those things along the way.
Yeah.
Act on some, not act on others, but network within the group, see what's happening. There's a lot of other owners. I'm clearly not the only Express owner that has multiple franchises. People do it for different reasons. I do believe that the growth potential for your internal team is a primary reason
Yeah.
why many of my colleagues are doing it. But the other is that it's a great business. If we know it, Express knows it. My team executes well. Why not go a little bigger? And it's worked out for us.
So when you first invested in Express, and it happened pretty fast, but do you remember, since you made the decision apparently in like 13 hours, do you remember factoring in during any of those 13 hours? I've seen within this franchise system others who've added territories. Was that an important factor for you, or just kind of a nice to have?
I'd say it was more of a nice to have.
Okay.
The expansion it was discussed within the first 6 months. 100%.
Is that right?
Guaranteed. Yes. The first couple weeks,
Not so much.
Not so much. The first 2 or 3 months, it was the hardest thing my wife and I have been through in terms of just trying to make it work.
Yeah.
We went from having a salary and money coming in to buying a job and having nothing coming in. And so it was
Did you both leave to be part of the business?
So my wife at the time was a stay-at-home mom, raising our twin girls. But once they were entering kindergarten, she was going to enter the workforce again. But I convinced her to go this route. And
smart man.
So expansion was like I said, early on in our minds, right out of the chute, it was just survival mode.
Yeah.
Really. Yeah.
And anybody who's starting a brand new business who says it's anything else, they might not be recollecting very clearly, right?
Yeah. We anyone who's been successful in any profession, it is hard work. You don't just stumble on success. You have to work hard, and we did. And I owe it to my team for working hard. My wife, she did a lot to make things get to the level that we're at today. Even though she's been out of the business for a couple of years now, she was critical to really holding things together when it could be easy to throw in the chips. I mean, it's there are times where it becomes, and you're asking yourself tough questions, But I'm so glad it's been so rewarding. The expansion has been fabulous, and we're having our best year ever this year.
Congratulations on that.
Appreciate it.
Not surprisingly, since it's a business that's somewhat counter-cyclical.
Yes. No, there's no question that the market is assisting us, but I will tell you that it's not like that everywhere, and it's because my team, the people that I work with that are working with our two sets of customers, they're the ones that are diligent. They work hard. Mm-hmm. They care. They're fundamental in knowing the details and doing the right thing. And that makes a difference. And you can't be successful if you don't have that in place. And I'm fortunate to have great people.
Hearing you talk about that made me think of another question I wanted to ask about I'll call them the acquisitions of other locations. What went into your calculus for whether or not it made sense to, in these every 2-year events, whether or not it made sense to make the investment? I mean, you moved quickly, obviously, but all joking aside, there must have been some serious analysis. I'm not asking you for proprietary information here.
Yeah.
I mean, this isn't recorded live, so I could ask you for proprietary information, and then we'd cut it out later. But what kind of factors were you contemplating in order for you and your wife to get to the point where you said, this is worth us investing in. Let's move forward on this. Let's make an offer.
You might laugh at this one. Very little analysis was done.
Again, there's a theme.
Let's go back. Let's go back to previous responses. I surround myself with the people who I have faith and trust in. Mm-hmm. I listen and see what they're doing. And if that same door is open for me, I'm going through the door. I'm not sitting in front of the door and going in over-analyzation mode. I can't say that is going to work every time. I'm not going to say that is the right way to do it, or I don't make mistakes, because clearly made many. However, in this regard, in regards to expansion, I saw enough, I heard enough, and I trusted the right people and knew it was the right thing. So,
and now I get what you're saying. You didn't overthink it, right? Like I'm not gonna talk myself out of this because I realize this is a real opportunity.
The biggest question really I had was, can I support? Is there enough of me to go around? I guess a better way to put it is there enough? Can I devote enough time to make them all work and all succeed and be successful? It wouldn't make any sense for one to be successful and have the other two, take all the profits away from the one that is successful.
Yeah.
And so you do have to, or I did have to assess my ability and willingness to put in the time with each individual team and understand the breadth of my team and what we could do. And so in regards to maybe not what all was contemplated, but those were the questions, I guess, that I was asking. And maybe the most critical, again, was, is there enough of me to go around, if that makes sense?
Yeah.
And I guess
I could have hit that softball out of the park, but
well, I'm assuming, and not every franchise is the same, but I am assuming that, franchisee involvement is critical to at least some extent, right?
Sure.
And with our business, it's fairly important.
It's a people business.
That's exactly right. From a good end, I need to catch my people doing good things and reward them for it. And if I'm not there, they're not going to feel as satisfied in what they're doing and feel appreciated. So that's a critical piece of that.
I love that line. That's going to have to be our clip out, Dylan. I mean, talk about somebody who's in a people business and having the right attitude and then actually practicing what you preach in order to stay ahead of the curve. Another question for you. 2 or 3 things. Could you give me a couple examples of ways that your role changed as the owner when you went from owning a single location to multiple locations, priorities that changed for you or where you had to spend your time differently?
Yes. Well, number one is we needed to be more organized. My team will tell you that can be a challenge for me. And so organization was critical. So there were many times when, in order to begin something or continue to work through a process, it was, okay, how's this going to work with both sets of both teams here?
Yeah.
So my role became, I guess, more in operational organization, is one aspect where it came into play. Number 2, it was people development. So that sped up really quick because we didn't hire 10 new people. We just hired one at a time. It just became one at a time, maybe 2 at a time. And so we needed those people to be ramped up quickly and supported and trained. And so that became a more critical piece as well. And maybe not as much in regards to what I did, but what I helped others do or what I, removed a barrier for someone so they could train someone else. Gotcha. So I guess it would compartmentalize the aspects of the business so that people could get ramped up and trained quickly. That was, again, another key piece to that.
Gotcha. Sounds like a lot more of working on the business, not just in the business, actually creating the processes and delegating rather than trying to do everything yourself because it was all up here in your head.
Yes. And in that process, Blake, you do need to trust others. The level of trust and delegation needs to be adjusted, right? It's just part of you. No one person can do everything. Mm-hmm. And, most people are capable of doing more than what they're doing. So if you dial into that, you're able to accomplish more in multiple markets or different businesses and while it's very hard, and I found it to be extremely difficult in many regards, it's required in order to consider expanding or branching out,
Okay.
or adding new services, because time is our number one resource, right? There's not nearly enough of it to continue at the pace prior with more business.
Can't argue with that.
Made many mistakes,
Yeah.
many mistakes over the years.
So the career path, their career development has obviously worked out for you. That was one of your primary priorities in contemplating additional locations, is to create career paths, and obviously that has worked out.
I was fortunate enough. Express Employment has a great training program, not only for new franchisees, but also existing franchisees. And the training that I attended over a 3-year period really focused on creating a culture that embodies what you want and what you need and what you want to see, and thinking about your legacy and what you're leaving behind. And a key aspect, I'll never forget it, was simple one-on-ones with your people. And we used to call them, one-on-one meetings, or heck, I don't know what we call them, but I know what we call them now. They're called career conversations.
I thought for sure you were going to say weekend at Bernie's. I was just waiting for that.
No, this would not be, it might have been a name at some point. Career conversations are what take place on a frequent basis. And again, it focuses not just our employees, but our director of operations, Travis. It focuses him on talking about and being dialed into the individual and their career. So that has been, to your point, yes, very critical aspect to our success.
Clearly, you're all about valuing the human capital assets that you have in your organization.
Yes. There is absolutely no business out there that I know of. Maybe there is, but not one that I have found that isn't successful because of the people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's definitely the case with us. We have great people, and it's challenging. There's no question about that. Challenging situations occur when you've got 600 people working at 130 different companies in Omaha.
Yeah. And
our team of 15 people are in charge of making sure it goes as smoothly as possible. It's impossible to bat 1,000 all the time.
Yeah.
We don't win every time. We make mistakes. We don't get the right person hired. And that's a reason why people hire us, because recruiting is hard.
Yeah.
And we fail. But when we do, we make sure we're doing the right things to learn from it, grow from it, rectify the situation, and continue to focus on the relationships. So getting back, I'm really long-winded with this answer. Definitely focused on people and relationships. And so the relationship piece, not only with our own team, but with all people that come into our office and all companies that we partner with.
So you've got two, as you just reminded us there, you've got two sets of customers, right? The people that work for you who end up providing the placements, and then the businesses, the B2B relationship.
Correct.
How do both customer segments get a hold of you?
Great question. So our number one recruiting source is referrals.
Yeah.
We have really bought into the fact that if we treat people right, if we find great jobs for people, they're going to spread the word for us. And 30 to 40% of our people that come in are through word of mouth and referrals. We're utilizing all other avenues,
sure,
many of which you've heard of as well. But we do it every day, all the time. And we focus on how many people are coming in. So we rarely have 2 or 3 bad days in a row, meaning busy days. We typically have, if we have a day where 4 or 5 people come in, the next day we need 15. So we focus on that heavily and dial into just working hard with the resources that we have. Companies find us through a couple different ways as well. We've got a strong email marketing campaign. We've got an awesome business development rep who's knocking on doors every single day. We are constantly reaching out to prior customers. We've got 300 to 350 different companies locally that we aren't staffing currently that we have staffed in the last 9 years. So we're always looking for them, whether they need people or not. We're always trying to bring value to them because what we know is at some point they will.
Yeah.
And just like every business, at some point you're going to need someone and maybe the timing's right. So,
and never assume that they do remember you, right? You better reintroduce yourself.
That's exactly right. Yeah. So staying in contact with current and former clients, knocking on doors all day long, and then utilizing some email marketing and other strategies to advertise our services is how we're finding good partners here in town. And the business community of Omaha has been fabulous, and we're so appreciative.
Sounds like you've earned it. So if customers want to get a hold of you, whether that's the businesses that are looking for staff or people who want to work for you, what's the best contact info?
Great question, Blake. ExpressOmaha.com. ExpressOmaha.com. You're going to find our locations, our phone numbers right there, and we're eager to help job seekers and companies that are needing help as well.
Perfect. And as our audience knows, you can always scan the QR code on the screen of all these podcasts, and they'll get in contact with us, and we'll make sure that they connect with you. Really important at a time like this. People need staff.
Yes. Yeah, for sure.
Bernie, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. Bernie Inbody with Express Employment Professionals.
Been a lot of fun. Thanks so much, Blake.
You're very welcome. And thanks to all of you for joining us on another episode of the Heartland Franchise Guy. Remember, don't keep us a secret, and certainly don't keep Bernie a secret if you know somebody that needs some staffing assistance. You can subscribe, share, and follow us, and share these episodes, including this one with Bernie Inbody, with anybody who you think would benefit from knowing a little bit more about Express Employment Professionals and or about how to expand once you're in a franchise system. Thanks for all of you being here today, and we'll see you on another episode of the Heartland Franchise Guy.